Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. The conversation promises to be tense if you get a call from an irate Karen. More in our first story. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. That location is closed. Who do I sue? For background, I work for the corporate headquarters of a national retail store. Our stores are privately owned mom-and-pop stores that join our corporation for purchasing power, marketing, and other member perks. We don't have any say in the day-to-day running of the stores. That's not how our contracts work. Suffice to say, we don't have a customer service department, and we don't handle customer complaints outside of taking the customer's info and passing it back onto the store. We don't have our 800 number listed as it's for members only, but we do sometimes get calls from customers that are able to locate our local number. Also, a lot of times customers in the area will search for a store and our address pops up, so they'll call to get directions, and we clarify that we aren't a store and give them the closest store's phone number. On to the story. I get a call from a woman on our local line, and here's how the conversation goes. Me. Company name, this is me. How can I help you? Karen. Where are you located? This immediately threw up a flag that this wasn't a member store calling, so I asked her, may I ask what this is in regards to? She snaps, I'm asking where you're located. Just answer the question. Great first impression, lady. Me. This is the corporate headquarters located in City State. May I ask what this is in regards to? Karen. I've been calling your location in other city for over a month. I called 5 times today alone and no one ever answers. They're closed down. Look up my order from over a year ago and tell me what I purchased. I'm sorry, our stores are all independently owned stores. We don't have a master database with purchase information. Looking at my records, I see that store is still an active store. I can take your information and reach out to the store to contact you. They're closed. What am I supposed to do? I show they're still an active store. I can take your information and look into this for you. She continues to insist the store is closed permanently. I reiterate that I'll have to look into it. I managed to get her contact information at some point, but I'm most definitely losing my patience and I don't have to take any abuse from her. She's yelling and accusing me of not being helpful. I explained that we have no control over stores or how they're run and don't have access to their information. Somewhere in her rant, she says, so if I wanted to sue, I wouldn't be able to? And I'm thinking, no, you couldn't sue us. That's not how this works. If a store closed and you're angry and you want to sue, it doesn't come back to us. You might be able to sue the manufacturer of the product, but good luck. I finally snapped and told her to stop yelling at me. I laid into her, but I don't even remember all that was said because I was seeing red. Then I hung up on the lady. My coworker a couple desks over was looking at me with a Pikachu face. I did pass on the information to the store, which coincidentally was still open. Follow-up. She wanted to know how to clean her product because she spilled ginger ale on it. She probably wanted company X, but you're company Y. Since you both sell item B, you're both the same company. And our second story. You want me gone in a year? Okay. I was working at a company for 5 years under a visa. The company had very quickly figured out it was easy to use and abuse people on visas and proceeded to do just that. My colleague and I were underpaid and overworked. He finally left. I stupidly believed they'd extend my papers. They initially agreed to do just that. A supervisor position opened up. I refused to cover that position without the title. I'd essentially been doing that job for the past several years, and I wasn't going to keep doing it without the acknowledgement. Basically, for 2 weeks, we had no one supervising us. I refused to do what I'd been doing the whole time. It was an empowering moment because I finally snapped and said I was done. The department fell into chaos. There was no one of authority between us and the CEO, and he was getting a great many calls. Finally, he sent down the HR admin assistant to let me know I could apply for the position. It was petty as he'd personally called every other person he wanted to take that position. Both previous supervisors who held that position had recommended me. But okay, I went ahead and submitted a resume and did an interview. They gave me the position but withdrew the offer to renew my papers, which expired in a year. They told me I'd have to leave in a year. Okay. 11 months later, the department's running smoothly, but I haven't heard anything about interviews or my replacement. They'd forgotten I was leaving. That's not possible, you say. After all that drama, they couldn't possibly forget. Turns out they very much did. When I reminded them my visa was set to expire, I was met with anger and denial. Because it was my fault somehow? To the point the CEO refused to speak with me or look at me, and HR was begging me to stay and trying to come up with ways I could stay. There was so much denial that no replacement was interviewed or ever trained. I'd been working there for so long I'd simply absorbed multiple positions, leaving me as the only one who knew certain things. My last week, I sat down with both HR and the CEO to outline everything I did. They were wounded till the end. Never announced I'd left or who was taking over my position as was customary. I knew because I had several friends that still worked there. You may say that the papers were expired and I had to leave. See, by this point, my situation had changed. I didn't inform them of this change. I could have continued to work there, but they wanted me to leave, so I was going to leave. As of today, it's been 2 years, and they've been through 4 people in my position. The current supervisor had an easily preventable critical incident occur during his watch, one that had never happened in the history of the business, within his first few months, so we'll see how long he lasts. They have had to hire additional staff because the people who replace me are very busy and unable to manage everything I did. They've also had a 100% turnover in the department through resignations. During my tenure, I had 1 resignation. Edit. Just got an update through sources. They're on to number 5, and they're moving one of the departments under someone else. Let's see how far this breaks down. Karma. Edit, edit. They just contacted 2 people to ask them to act as consultants and clean up the crap show, my current boss and my best friend. They both declined. My current boss knows nothing. He just took the credit for my work, and they severely traumatized my friend after I left. My friend managed to keep their part of the department functioning but couldn't handle it anymore with a rotating door of supervisors and left for a lower stress, higher paying job taking the last little bits of information. The karma keeps on giving. Damn, that's some serious screw up on the company's part. And our last story. Burned my ex a big one. My ex cheated on me numerous times, kept saying he was divorcing me. He was in Europe with the military and deployed from there to Afghanistan and accused me of cheating all the time because I stayed in the U.S. I stayed because they were going to extend his tour in Europe if I joined him, and he bitched that he didn't want to stay there. He came back from his deployment and back to the U.S. We hadn't talked in about 6 months at this time, so he shows up and wants to work things out. Okay? I didn't know about the cheating yet. A month later, I got a routine OB appointment, postnatal, to find out I have STD. Knowing I hadn't slept with anyone but him, I knew exactly where I got it. He, of course, denies it and says I cheated. Whatever, he has it too, and suddenly he's messaging all these girls on Facebook to go get checked. So I'm 2,000 miles from my family at this point, and I'm considering how to get the hell out of this mess. My ex becomes an alcoholic and starts being abusive. The military did nothing about it, even after the MPs arrested him 3 separate times for domestic issues. They put me in the position of having him come back home because they wouldn't keep him in the barracks and made him pay to stay somewhere else. Unfortunately, that meant he took all the money out of the account to pay for his housing and didn't care if the baby ate or had diapers. I'm stuck in this crap situation. I don't have the money to go home and start over, so I start planning on how to escape it the easiest way possible. He looks at re-enlisting, so I suggest the military base that's closest to my family. He goes for it, and within a short period of time, we're packed up and moving. I let my parents know what's going on, so they're in the loop if I struggle and need to come home. We no sooner get moved than he has this massive episode with the drinking. This is my opportunity that I was waiting for. He threatens to kill himself. I call the hotline, and they send the MPs over. They collect him up and take him to the psych ward. He says he's changed and all this and wants to come home. I kept pushing it off, and the military sends him to a rehab facility. At this point, he's a 2-times loser with the substance abuse program. I packed up while he was gone. At some point while he's gone, it dawns on him that I pushed for him to go to that particular base because it was close to home and it was an escape plan. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. So, duped him on that one. At this point, he should have learned that I'm in the planning phase of leaving him permanently and should have been a bit on guard. I hire a lawyer to draft my divorce paperwork. I filed it myself, but learned quickly that if you plan on being shady, professional help makes it easier. In the state I live in, Texas, you can waive your rights to a divorce and let the other party go uncontested. The waiver pretty much waives your rights to anything to do with the divorce and to any notice from the court about proceedings. I get the lawyer to draft up a waiver, took basically what I wanted and gave it to my ex to read. He signs the waiver without reading it or any of the divorce paperwork after he held on to it for a week, so he could have his lawyer look over it. I knew when he gave it back to me, signed, there was no way in hell he read it or had any lawyer or paralegal read it, as nobody would be stupid enough to sign it if they'd actually read and understood it. It was pretty straightforward. I don't say a word about it, play it off like it's just part of the process, and immediately, cautiously drove down, hauled butt to the clerk to file it. Final date comes up. Of course, my ex has no idea it's even happening because the schmuck signed off his rights. I appear for court, talk to the judge for about 5 minutes, he signs it off, and I go down to file it. I drop off a copy at my ex's work as a courtesy, his choice. I called and told him I had some paperwork for him. He completely flips his crap at work because he can't believe that it's finalized without him getting any say in it. Just last week, he was talking about working it out and hadn't argued about it. Yeah, because I knew the final court date already. Why argue? Basically, the last thing he ever said pertaining to the divorce was that he couldn't believe what a sneaky bee I am. Moral of the story, kids, don't smack your wife around because she might be a sneaky bee that's smarter than you. You are not a sneaky bee. You are a reasonable, good person dealing with a corrupt a-hole. Those people deserve to get treated for how they behave and punished for their stupidity. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.